My dear second PUC students, in the previous sessions we learned the concept of charge. Okay? Charge is a basic property of matter. Okay? Charge and mass are two basic properties by birth. These basic fundamental particles, protons, neutrons, electrons and all elementary particles have two basic properties, that is charge and mass. The whole universe consists of matter and energy. Okay? Make it very clear. Charge is a property associated in matter. Is one more property imbibed in matter. Okay? So in the previous sessions we have understood the concept of charge, types of charge, positive charge, negative charge. Like charge repels, unlike charge attracts. So therefore they exert force. Two like charges repel each other. Okay? So unlike charges attract each other, the force is given by Coulomb's law. Then concept of electric field, that is very, very important. A charge has its effect in its surrounding. Okay? Though the charge lies in the matter, but it has influence all around it. That is the concept of field. That force per unit charge is called electric field intensity. That work per unit charge is called electric potential. To make you understand, Michael Faraday introduced the concept of flux, electric field lines, to make you more profound, make you understand the concept of field. You respected friends, please understand those things very clearly. Okay? So if you have two charges separated by a distance, they have some stored energy in them. In the field, in the electric field, certain amount of energy is stored. We saw that too also. The energy is stored between two point charges separated by a distance. So we saw all those things. With that knowledge, knowing about charge, we come back to the next topic, another very, very important topic, basic topic. All of us must and should understand. This topic is very important for all subjects, even for physics, even for chemistry. It is very, very important. That is atoms, atomic structure. We know that all matter is made up of atoms. The universe consists of matter and energy only. Energy is the ability to do work. Okay? So matter, you know that anything which has mass and occupies space is called matter. We can touch, taste, smell, all these things. All matter is made up of atoms. Therefore, here only it is very clear, atom is the basic unit of matter. Atom elements in chemistry. So you read the concept of so many, structure of so many elements. So the size of the atom is about 10 to the power of minus 10 meter, is less than micron. It is very, very small. Therefore, it cannot be seen through naked eye. It cannot be seen even through any microscope. Make it very clear. Nobody has seen atoms. Therefore, to know, to study about what does atom consists of, what we did? We introduced the concept of model. What is model? The assumed structure. Make it. Model means the assumed structure. How to assume a structure? based on its behavior and properties. Based on the behavior and properties, we made our excellent effort to give atomic structure. The first person who thought about atoms is Dalton. So after Dalton, J.J. Thomson invented electrons. When metals are heated to high temperature, electrons are liberated. So they are called cathode rays. He invented electrons. Therefore, from where those electrons came from? They must and should be emitted from atoms. Therefore, Thomson himself gave one basic model. That model is called Thomson's atomic model. Okay? According to Thomson's atomic model, an atom is a hard sphere of radius 10 to the power of minus 10 meter in which negatively charged particles called electrons are embedded in a positively charged matter. Electrons are floating in the positively charged matter like seeds in watermelon. All of you have seen watermelon. In Kannada it is called Kallandi Hannu. So that black seeds are something like electrons. The red thing what you eat is something like positive charge. So that is how the atom looks like. So that concept was given by J.J. Thomson. When we heat this atom, so this contracts, as a result electrons comes out. That is how electrons are liberated. This is how Thomson gave atomic structure. As time passes, so two great excellent kids, Giger and Marsden. Giger and Marsden, with the advice of Rutherford is his guru or teacher. With the advice of Rutherford, Giger Marsden conducted alpha ray scattering experiment. In future we will learn that. So this Thomson's model failed to explain the results of alpha ray scattering experiment. Therefore, this model is given up. This is the major drawback of Thomson's model. Then the question arises. Then how the atoms look like? Atom is not like this. Therefore, how the atom is? Then, so Rutherford himself advised Giger Marsden to conduct this experiment. This experimental setup is as shown. So the alpha ray source, that is bismuth 214, is made to fall on this. These emit alpha rays. You know alpha rays. What are alpha rays? Alpha rays are nothing but helium nuclei. Alpha rays consists of 2 protons and 2 neutrons. They have a charge of plus 2e. Alpha rays are positively charged. Make it very clear that. Okay. So these alpha rays are made narrow. They are made to pass through 2 lead blocks. A narrow beam of alpha rays is made to fall on a thin gold foil. A very thin gold foil. Okay. After that, the alpha rays are scattered all along. It is observed using zinc sulfide screen. Okay. So most of in this experiment, about 99.9% of the alpha rays, most of the alpha rays travel straight. A few of them, around 1.14% of them, are scattered more than 1 degree. Very few of them, 1 in 10,000 or 8,000, are scattered back. 1 in 20,000 or 30,000 is scattered, so reflected back. So are reflected through 180 degree. So these are the experimental observations of Giger and Marsden alpha ray scattering experiment. So now you think, if the atom is like this, these this scattering is not possible. Almost all the alpha rays would have been traveled straight. Therefore, atom cannot be like this. Rutherford, Giger, along with discussing the experiment results with Giger and Marsden, Rutherford concluded that most of the alpha rays go straight, means most of the space in atoms is empty. Make it very clear. Then only they can travel straight. So about very few of them are deflected by 1 degree. So then a few of them are even scattered back. This shows that, this is a very important observation, this shows that all the positive charge for backward scattering, this is the decision he took. All the positive charge must be concentrated in a small volume at the center of the atom. That central, massive, hard core of the atom is called nucleus. The concept of nucleus arises here only. About 99.9% of the mass, that should be massive. So if and only if its mass is massive, then only head-on position is possible. Otherwise, this itself will knock out. That clearly shows most of the mass of the atom is concentrated in the nucleus. Okay? So, these are all the conclusions from alpha ray scattering experiment. Okay? So, from here, so if you observe the trajectory of alpha rays means they are positively charged. This nucleus is also positive, like charges repels. The alpha rays are going like this, they move like this. As they come towards this, repulsive force between them is less. So, as they are far away, they will go straight. So, when the alpha rays comes closer to the nucleus, the force, according to Coulomb's law, force is inversely proportional to square of the distance. Therefore, this positive charge is repelled by this, that is why it is deflected. When this alpha ray goes still close to the nucleus, close to central line of the nucleus, then force becomes very large. That repulsive force between the two charges becomes very large, therefore it turns back. So when an alpha ray goes along the central line, it goes, the force, the repulsive force increases. As a result, the velocity of the alpha particle gradually decreases, velocity decreases, that repulsive force increases. At this point, the velocity of the alpha particle becomes zero. The alpha particle loses all its kinetic energy. It stops here. Because of the repulsive force, again it turns back, it starts moving backwards. Therefore, this is the minimum distance between the alpha particle and the nucleus along the central line. That distance is called distance of closest approach. Please understand the things very clear. The minimum distance between the alpha particle and the nucleus along the central line is called distance of closest approach. At distance of closest approach, what is the velocity, kinetic energy of the alpha particle? Velocity is zero, momentum is zero, kinetic energy is zero. It loses all its kinetic energy. All the kinetic energy of the alpha particle, mass of the alpha particle into velocity gets converted into potential energy, electrostatic potential energy. The charge of this is plus 2e, the charge of the nucleus is plus Ze. Therefore, potential energy of the system of two charges is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 into Q2 plus 2e into Ze divided by this distance. This is the expression for distance of closest approach. At distance of closest approach, all the kinetic energy gets converted into potential energy. Okay, that is the condition. This perpendicular distance, the perpendicular distance of the incident alpha particle from the central line of the nucleus is called impact parameter. That is signified as B. That is called impact. Along which direction? Impact parameter signifies so how the alpha particles are getting so scattered. Impact parameter. Okay? Yes. So when the impact parameter is 0, the angle of scattering is 180 degree, it turns back. When the impact parameter is greater than the radius of the nuclear radii or radius of the nucleus, the angle of scattering is 0. As the impact parameter decreases, angle of scattering increases. We know the concept of these two concepts, impact parameter and distance of closest approach. So this is the path of alpha particles when scattered by the gold nucleus. Why we choose gold nuclei? Because it is a heavy nuclei. So that is why, and stable nuclei. So in the periodic table, that is why, so we took gold foil. So to observe alpha ray scattering experimental results. Okay. After knowing all these things, what is our final conclusion? Rutherford concluded that an atom consists of central positively charged nucleus and negatively charged electrons revolving around the nucleus. This is termed as Rutherford's atomic model. Rutherford himself gave his own model after discussing with his two great students, Geiger and Marsden. They themselves gave a new model. That model is called Rutherford's atomic model. According to this model, an atom consists of central positively charged massive hard core called nucleus and negatively charged electrons revolving around the nucleus. Okay? So then the question arises, as we have learned in first PUC, for any matter to undergo circular motion, it itself cannot do circular motion because it should change its direction continuously. To change the direction continuously, what is required? Force is required. Who is giving force? This attractive force between the nucleus and the electron. That itself provides the necessary centripetal force. If there is no force, a body cannot execute circular motion. That electrostatic force between the negative charge and positive charge gives the necessary centripetal force. Okay? This is the final conclusion of Rutherford's atomic model. So in the next session, so we shall derive expression for the total energy of an electron using Rutherford atomic model. So please read all these things. If you find any doubts, send me questions. I will answer all those things. Afterwards, we shall move to the Bohr model in the next session. Okay, today's session is very important. This topic is very important. Why? Because all matter is made up of atoms. You are also made up of atoms. Okay, let us see how atoms varies from each other in the next class. Thank you.